If you feel like everything is starting to blend together, you're not wrong. You're seeing products that all look the same, collabs that feel recycled, and marketing campaigns that drop with zero impact. And somehow you're expected to cut through all of that noise. If you're building your own brand, you can't afford to blend in. Your story has to be distinct or it disappears. And that's why these latest headlines in sports marketing and culture matter more than you think. Steph Curry is suddenly a sneaker free agent, and Nike just revamped its entire City Edition program. When the storytelling gets bland, even the biggest stars or the biggest brands can't save the product. Because what you actually want is not something new. You want meaning, you want intention, you want identity. Let's get to the point. Now, last week we got one of the biggest marketing updates that we could have possibly expected. And that was when Steph Curry was announced that he's leaving Under Armour. I mean, this is mind-blowing on so many different levels. But, first of all, you got probably the most popular player in the league now being a sneaker free agent in year 17. It's just, that doesn't really happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like Steph is on the decline. Granted, he's on the back end of his career, but he's been consistently performing at the highest level. I mean, just last week, he put up 91 total points against the San Antonio Spurs and Wembanyama, which are looking like the new team on the rise. But Steph is still that guy. If you look at all the top-rated games in the past 15 years, they all involve Steph Curry. He has immense pull, immense popularity. He's just one of them ones. And so for him to be a sneaker free agent is truly baffling. Right? So to understand how we get there, let's look at the journey, the process, right? So coming into the league, Steph Curry, highly touted guard, but there were questions about, his size, his durability, and he suffered a lot of ankle injuries early. And so when it came time to renegotiate and re-up with Nike, they weren't all on board, and understandably so, right? Like we've seen what Steph Curry did in college, we've seen him be an enigma, but we hadn't really seen that in the NBA, at that scale, right? He has a couple playoff moments, but he wasn't that guy yet. So Nike, they're already invested in Kyrie. They got Kobe at the time. They got KD. They got LeBron. I believe they still had Harden at that time. So they had Westbrook on the Jordan side. So, it's understandable how you might reuse some slides and have Curry slip through the cracks. And boy, did that come at the absolute wrong time. And now during this moment, taking you back to 2014, 2015, Under Armour was on fire. Not only did they just sign Steph, they also had Cam Newton. They just had a roster of MVPs. They had Bryce Harper. Their guys were winning. It was kind of insane, right? And then Steph goes on to have back-to-back MVP years, a unanimous MVP, winning titles. It couldn't have gone better from a launch standpoint. Honestly, Steph Curry's initial year with Under Armour reminds me a lot of what's going on with Shea right now at Converse. He won all the awards, won the awards that mattered, competed at the highest level. That's that's what you hope happens when you sign a signature athlete. Under Armour got all of that and more. And at that moment, the marketing was super dialed in, right? They were communicating this in real time, celebrating Steph's MVPs, celebrating his championships, leaning into his relentlessness, his determination, him being the first unanimous MVP, but him also being so underrated and undervalued to the point that honestly they were able to get him, right? These were all great stories that they were able to tell and communicate through their larger marketing campaigns and through just Steph being Steph, right? And continue to set the league on fire for the next 10 years. And honestly, over the course of his tenure, he hasn't had a memorable sneaker moment since. And that's it's actually kind of hard to do when you think about it. You got this great all-time player. He's coming up with celebration night. He plays with so much joy, so much infectious energy. He is just a energizing force for the game, inspirational figure, right? He hasn't lost any of his basketball cachet, right? And one of the big reasons why he left Under Armour and wanted to go with Nike, it wasn't just about the signature shoe. It was to be able to have the camps, right? To be able to teach and grow the game, That's very fundamental to what he believes in and what he wants to do. And what he has done with Under Armour and starting his camps, his elite camps, we bring in the top 25, 24, girls and boys in high school, and they get to learn and spend some time with Steph and do drills that they never seen before. Like, that stuff is super impactful. But he also took it up a notch and did an underrated tour and camps for kids who aren't 4 or 5 star athletes like himself. So Curry has an immense impact in basketball culture. He's still a figure, a GOAT-like figure that everybody looks up to, everybody wants to learn from. Like, you watch his dribbling and shooting routines pregame and you're like, I want to see more of this. So providing that access to kids behind the scenes is invaluable, but somehow Under Armour was never able to translate that into a marquee moment. Quick timeout. If you're ready to stop guessing and start growing, I'd love to talk to you. I'm opening up a few one-on-one discovery calls this month for creators, athletes, and brands looking to turn their ideas into real strategy heading into 2026. Whether you're building a personal brand, launching a product, or just trying to find your mid-range, I'll help you craft a plan step by step. Hit the link in bio to book your discovery call now. I'd love to assist you on your next winning play. Now, let's get back to the video. And again, that's baffling to me, right? Like, there was no connection to basketball culture outside of the game. They weren't able to do any collabs, to bring anybody influential on to kind of co-sign and develop their brand. I remember back in the day, there was rumors of A$AP Rocky kind of being involved with Under Armour, I believe, and that never came to fruition or came into anything. So they never had any outside cultural influences to kind of ground it and really make the story and the brand bigger than it was. Like, even at New Balance, you had Joe Freshgoods doing Kawhi Leonard collabs, right? Like, Nike has, that's what they do better than anybody else in the world. Countless collabs, this energy just fueling into what they do. And Under Armour never tapped into that. And so, but given all that context, right, and where they were stumbling, and even some of the political disagreements between CEO Kevin Plank and Steph Curry, all that considered, Under Armour still gave Steph Curry something that only Michael Jordan has really achieved in getting his own sub-brand within Under Armour, so the Curry brand. That launched a couple years ago, and that allowed Curry to start to distinguish himself from Under Armour and build out his own brand. He got his own now signature logo and was able to start signing players into the fold. Like De'Aaron Fox has a signature shoe under Curry brand. And even though the shoes use Under Armour tech, the Under Armour branding and all that has kind of been put to the side. So when you see him leave Under Armour, as surprising and shocking as it is, he is in a great position because he's already kind of distanced himself from the brand. And it's not like the brand has a run of great marketing campaigns or even great shoes that everybody's clamoring for and that now will be lost. Like, as much as I love Steph Curry, he's one of my favorite players, he has one of the most forgettable signature lines for anybody of his caliber that has that many. So maybe the breakup is going to be the best thing for them design-wise. And yeah, so just like seeing how that whole thing transpired, right? He's able to walk away from Under Armour with his own brand. And now the Curry brand, regardless of Under Armour, is still very strong. Like I mentioned before, like he brings in the ratings. He brings attention. People love Steph Curry. They love to watch him play. His game feels relatable, even though the hand-eye coordination and skills that he have are clearly elite, and it translates to golf and all these other things. But given his size and his stature, even though, again, he looks small on TV, 6'3", it feels like attainable, right? And that's the secret sauce, right? Like, you think about be like Mike, like you feel like you can be like Steph. Like you can replicate his outcomes through hard work, through determination, and his products, right? But Under Armour has completely failed to make that connection. And ultimately, it comes down to the products have to be good, right? We talk about this all the time. As much as I'm going to nitpick on Under Armour's inability to tell stories and build worlds and create energy, they also failed to deliver iconic products. Those two have to be married, right? You can do all this other great positioning stuff, but if the product is off, the product is off. And I'm not just simplifying. It's very simple actually. The truth is simple. It's when you bring in the other stuff that makes it complicated. And you know, I've seen Under Armour do scavenger hunts and all this good AR virtual reality stuff. They had a great All-Star weekend in Oakland, but again, it comes down to the product, and they didn't have the product. And if you don't have a product and you're not able to tell an authentic story that connects to people, right? Like this is what people are fiending for, connection right now, right? They're not just gonna spend their dollars loosely. So if your product doesn't connect them to a larger community or a larger purpose, they're gonna tune out. And that's what's been happening with Curry brand, unfortunately. It's just kind of been a thing. You know, he drops a new shoe, it's cool, it's Steph, but like it's not there's nothing around it. Right? There's not a resale culture, there's not a streetwear culture, and there's barely a basketball culture around it. So, it's unfortunate for one of the greatest players of all time to kind of have had this lackluster brand. So this creates a fresh opportunity for him. Selfishly, I would love to see him go to Nike. I think that would be amazing to have Steph, KD, and LeBron under the same banner. I think those three have now just become intrinsically linked for all time as the big three of this era, from the KD LeBron debates, and then the LeBron Steph debates, and then KD and Steph being teammates going against LeBron. They just had so much history, and they've been the top three guys, for a decade plus. And it was such a cool moment at the Paris Olympics last year to see those guys together, and we got some sit down conversations and iconic photos, and it would just be cool to kind of like have them all ride off into the sunset, into the twilight of their careers, and be able to do some cool marketing campaigns and positioning around the three of them, because they are so tied together. But unfortunately, there's no way that happens. I just don't see it. I mean, let me know if y'all think that Steph should sign with Nike. Leave a comment. But I can't see it. I think, one, he has his own brand, and you don't fight and build that own equity to then not leverage that in whatever negotiations or whatever brand you go to. And Nike hasn't done that for anybody else except for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's been able to carve that out, but Michael Jordan was the first, and he's Jordan. He's the GOAT. So even LeBron hasn't fully carved out a LeBron James business where he's signing signature athletes and he's, doing that kind of work. And we've seen Nike lose a lot of top level guys, honestly, because of that. Tiger Woods has left and started Sunday Red. Roger Federer has left and he's in partnership with On. So like, they don't seem to value the twilight of players' careers at Nike. And I get it. And unfortunately, like, in order to continue to build LeBron's king GOAT arc, is kind of having Steph there might kind of dilute that a little bit. So I don't think it's necessarily in Nike's best interest to have Steph Curry outside of like the halo marketing effect that they can have. And so as much as I like to see it, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Adidas is going to happen either. It doesn't really make sense. They have a very like young, edgy energy that they're building and curating over there, from Donovan Mitchell to Anthony Edwards, and even like the young guys they got signed over there like J-Dub, Evan Mobley, VJ Edgecombe. So like, I don't see Steph Curry really fitting in that mix. China might work, from just like, that's where they got the dollars, they got the market share. They'd want to do it, but I don't really see Steph as a creative director type like a Kyrie. Kyrie, what he's been able to do at Anta is super unique, but I think he came with the whole vision of a brand. Like, he's got takedown shoes and that aren't even basketball kicks, and like, I haven't seen that care or even that like energy around Steph at all. So I don't necessarily see one of those partnerships working outside of like funding and manufacturing. So I think he stays independent. It'd be, that's more aligned with his story and what he's been doing. Like I kind of profiled it before. He's starting all these brands from Plezzy to his Eat, Play, Learn Foundation, and all the other things he's doing is really rooted in equity. 30 Inc., right? It's rooted in equity. It's rooted in ownership. And so now you have this huge opportunity to build a sneaker brand at scale that nobody else has and it be independent. Right? Like Jordan had the opportunity, but he's under Nike. Trying to think, people have built at Ling Ning and all these other places, but you don't have a star of Steph's caliber doing it in basketball, right? So I see him forging that path. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be daunting, but he's going to be able to secure the capital to give it a shot. And I'd love to see it. And the one thing I would stress is that the storytelling and the products have got to be aligned. They got to find ways to just infuse more culture into the Steph Curry brand. Like it cannot just be about basketball alone. The great shoes never are. Like nothing, even the Chuck Taylor was a basketball shoe, but it became a cultural staple, and that's why it remains to this day. Everything that lasts connects to culture because you can build that authenticity and that connection with fans that they could take with them, have their life moments with them, and now in a couple years, it becomes nostalgic and you can retro. Which brings us to the next sort of topic in the big headline from last week was Nike City Editions fully rolled out. They got new courts, new jerseys. But this year, they did something finally that was really smart. And they sort of repackaged it around what they're calling Encore. So this year is the Nike City Edition Encore. And what that really means is basically bringing back older designs from the City Edition program that worked or slightly remixing or tweaking them. And this is what it should have been all along. Like when Nike first introduced this program, there was so much positivity and good energy around it because the insight was pure. They came in, they knew that teams needed to kind of jumpstart their brands, add something fresh, add something unique, add something just cool and distinct, right? And when they did it and they launched, it was amazing. Some teams did better than others. Others hit their stride eventually. But ultimately, everybody got burnt out, right? Like Miami's the perfect example of this, right? Like they started off hot with the Vice, like killed it. At the time I was working in the league, this was a case study that they were sending around. Like, oh, hey, how can we do it like Miami? Miami's Vice program is the one. They built out this whole world. It's so Miami, but it's different for the Heat. But the way they were able to blend the two worlds, create this new distinct brand was awesome. But they burned through jerseys in like 2 seconds because they had the white one with the launch, which was fire. Then they had the black one the next year. Then they had the pink, and then they started doing the gradients. And by like year 4, it was over. They had to switch to Heat culture, and it's like, just stay with Vice. Like Vice is it. Like trying to hit the goal of the City Edition program is to come up with an idea like that and build the sub brand around it. So why are you going to try to do that every single year? Like that's crazy. That's impossible. So they've righted that wrong and allowed teams to kind of go back to the well and build on what worked. So this year we got a slew of returns. Mentioned the Vice, obviously. The Nets bringing back the Biggie jersey, which is personally, I have a bias towards that one because I worked on the initial launch, and that jersey means a lot to me personally. So to see that one back, amazing, right? Like that was a beautiful jersey, beautiful inspiration, beautiful execution. Let's keep it going. Like running for 2 or 3 years, then bringing the second colorway for another 2 or 3. You get 6 to 10 years out of these jerseys instead of a 1-year run. Player gets hurt. I remember was the Basquiat jerseys. Like KD was all about those when he got to, the flip of the Biggie jerseys. The first year he was out, so he didn't even get to wear them. He didn't get to wear the black ones because it was before his time. Then he didn't even get to wear the white ones because he was injured the whole year. Now we're on to the next thing. Waste. But I digress. Minnesota bring back the Purple Rain Prince-inspired jerseys. Atlanta bring back the Peachtree. Lakers bringing back the California Dream. Milwaukee bringing back the Cream City. Like, everybody went to what worked. And now fans are excited about that. And it's because, like, there's a connect. Like, when you have something that people connect with, don't run away from it. And I think that's why we get into this nostalgic loop, is because everybody gets tired of what's working. You can't get tired of what's working. As simple as that. People get tired of what's making them win, and they want to do something fresh. And it's just it's interesting to me. And so, like, typically we're pulling inspiration back from the 90s, right? Like, that's the golden era of NBA brand identity, right? I think the 80s is probably the golden era of basketball, and just like how the game itself, how Bird and Magic were able to just kind of bring all this new excitement. It's it's akin to what's happening with the WNBA right now, I believe. But that was the 80s. The 90s was when basketball culture exploded. The I love this game campaign from the league, fire. Michael Jordan winning 6 rings, becoming a global icon, the shoes, the tongue, all the things, right? Iconic. From 88 to 95, we get 6 new teams in the league. So there's a lot of fresh energy. And with those teams, we got these dynamic and over-characterized, just like grand designs. We got the Grizzlies with the big grizzly on the short, got the big hawk across the chest. We got teal from the Charlotte Hornets, and all of these big brands, big designs, the starburst on the Suns, the Magic pinstripes with the stars, like all of that. Like, the game was big, the game was bold, the game was distinct, and the brands reflected that. And it was just a moment where the league exploded in popularity, and those were the symbols that we connected to them. And so now, after that, the game became such a global superpower almost, right? And they became a little bit more corporate. So things have to be a little bit more clean, a little bit more minimalist, a little bit more sophisticated. And this is a trend that's not just happened in sports, it's happened across the board. Like, look at all the luxury brand logos who went from their unique logos to their sans serif fonts or Helvetica. It just got super clean. That serves its purpose from a sponsorship and co-branding standpoint. But when every team starts to lose their feel, everybody's playing the same, teams' jerseys feel and look the same. That's not what it's about. We want distinction, right? Like, these teams, although part of a larger league, are their own brands. They're supposed to be hyper local. They're supposed to be reflective of their cities. They're supposed to give people something to care about. And that's what the NBA lost by kind of becoming homogenous, right? So the City Edition started off as a way to address that problem. It faltered, but now I feel like they got it back right. And so where we give critiques, we got to give praise. And I think this is the right way to kind of revamp the program and allow teams to really build that local connection, to really create memories, create moments in these uniforms, tell authentic stories that represent their communities. That's what draws people in, right? That is what the game was missing. We're getting back to it slowly but surely, and I'm excited to see what comes next. And that's where we'll wrap it up for today. Just a quick reminder, Steph and UA, that whole debacle shows what happens when a product loses cultural relevancy. What the NBA and Nike just addressed with their revamp of the City Edition shows what happens when teams and brands lose their identity and that authentic connection to fans. You keep that, you'll win. Simple and plain. So I appreciate you guys. If you made it this far, make sure you like, subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you thought. If you like the new City Edition jerseys, let me know which one you agree with. I'm thinking about doing another ranking this year. It's harder because there's not a lot of new designs. They're all kind of old. So it's harder to kind of gauge the top 5, bottom 5. But let me know if y'all want to see a bottom 5, because I'll drop that for you if we get enough comments. And also trying to grow the page, get up to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So please, again, like, share, send it to somebody you think that'll rock with this, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.